Summary of Sonnet 71, No Longer Mourn for Me When I Am Dead, by William Shakespeare. Sonnet 71, No Longer Mourn for Me When I Am Dead, by William Shakespeare, reflects the poet's contemplation of death and his plea for his beloved not to mourn him excessively once he is gone. The speaker, addressing a lover or a close friend, expresses a selfless desire that their memory be forgotten to spare their beloved any grief or public ridicule. Through this sonnet, Shakespeare explores the tension between love, death, and the inevitability of decay, while also touching on the fear of being forgotten and the wish for emotional release. In the opening quatrain, the speaker introduces the idea of death, symbolized by the surly sullen bell that tolls for funerals. The bell serves as a reminder to the world that the speaker has died and has moved on from the vile world, a place filled with suffering and corruption. The imagery of vilest worms suggests that the speaker is aware of the unpleasant realities of death, including the physical decay of the body. The reference to worms highlights the grim nature of mortality. As the sonnet progresses, the speaker urges the addressee not to remember him after reading these lines, emphasizing that it would be better for the beloved to forget the writer altogether. This request reflects the speaker's deep love, as he does not want his memory to bring sadness or sorrow to the person he cares for. The phrase "I in your sweet thoughts would be forgot" shows the speaker's willingness to be erased from the mind of the beloved if remembering him would cause pain. In the third quatrain, the speaker's plea grows more intense. He asks the beloved not to even speak his name after his death, and to let their love decay just as his life will. This conveys the speaker's desire to protect the beloved from emotional suffering. Furthermore, he fears that the wise world, the judgmental and often mocking society, might look upon the beloved's grief with disdain and mock both the speaker and the mourner. This suggests a fear of public scrutiny and the harshness of societal judgment, which Shakespeare frequently explores in his sonnets. The theme of selflessness is prominent throughout the sonnet, as the speaker prioritizes the emotional well-being of the beloved over his own memory or legacy. The speaker's concern with how society will perceive the beloved's grief also reflects a fear of the external world's cruelty and the transient nature of human emotions and attachments. The sonnet deals with the inevitability of death and the painful reality that even the strongest of human connections may fade with time. The structure of the sonnet follows the traditional Shakespearean form, with 3 quatrains and a concluding couplet. Each quatrain builds on the speaker's plea for the beloved to forget him, while the couplet reinforces the fear that mourning could lead to mockery. The sonnet adheres to the rhyme scheme ABABCDCDEFEFGG, which is typical of Shakespeare's sonnets, and the meter is predominantly iambic pentameter, where each line consists of 10 syllables in 5 pairs of unstressed and stressed beats. This rhythmic pattern gives the poem a steady, somber flow, fitting its meditative and reflective tone on death and mourning. The overall theme of the sonnet revolves around love, mortality, and the desire for emotional release. The speaker's selflessness in love is demonstrated through his wish to be forgotten in order to spare the beloved grief. At the same time, the speaker wrestles with his own fear of being forgotten and the reality of death's finality. The tone is both tender and melancholic, as the speaker comes to terms with the fact that love, no matter how strong, cannot prevent the inevitable decay and end that comes with death.
Line-by-line explanation of Sonnet 71, No Longer Mourn for Me When I Am Dead, by William Shakespeare.
Line 1. No longer mourn for me when I am dead. In this opening line, the speaker makes a direct request to the beloved, urging them not to grieve once he has passed away. The speaker is preparing for death and, rather than focusing on his own sadness, he shows selflessness by asking the beloved to let go of their sorrow. There is a tone of acceptance here, as the speaker acknowledges death as an inevitable part of life. His priority is to spare the beloved any pain or prolonged mourning. Line 2. Then you shall hear the surly sullen bell. Here, the speaker imagines the tolling of the funeral bell, a traditional sound associated with death. Words like surly and sullen suggest that the bell itself reflects the mood of grief and heaviness that death brings. The bell's sound is grim and melancholic, symbolizing the formality of death as it announces to the world the departure of a life. Line 3. Give warning to the world that I am fled. The bell is described as giving notice to the world that the speaker has fled, a word that suggests an escape from life. This conveys a sense of death as both a departure from earthly existence and a release from the trials of life. The speaker sees death as a final exit, and the bell acts as a formal announcement of this departure to society. Line 4. From this vile world with vilest worms to dwell. The speaker expresses a negative view of the world, calling it vile and associating death with living among worms. The worms represent the inevitable physical decay that comes with death, as bodies return to the earth. This line reflects the speaker's disillusionment with life, as he seems to find comfort in the idea of leaving behind what he considers a corrupt world. Line 5. Nay, if you read this line, remember not. The speaker shifts the focus directly to the beloved again, asking that even if they read this poem in the future, they should not remember him. This is a plea for the beloved to forget the speaker altogether, suggesting that the speaker's love is so deep that he wishes to protect the beloved from the pain of remembering him. He prefers to be erased from memory if it means sparing the beloved from grief. Line 6. The hand that writ it, for I love you so. In this line, the speaker continues the theme of selflessness. He does not want the beloved to remember the writer of these lines, himself, showing how much he values the beloved's emotional well-being. The act of writing this poem becomes secondary to the feelings of the beloved. The speaker's love is so strong that he prioritizes the beloved's comfort over any desire for immortality through words. Line 7. That I in your sweet thoughts would be forgot. Here, the speaker expresses his hope that he will be forgotten in the beloved's thoughts. His wish is that the beloved's mind remains filled with sweetness, undisturbed by memories of him that might bring sadness. The speaker's love is so pure that he would rather be absent from the beloved's thoughts than cause them sorrow. Line 8. If thinking on me then should make you woe. The speaker reiterates his earlier plea, making it clear that if remembering him causes any grief or sadness, it would be better for the beloved to let go of those memories. He wishes to protect the beloved from emotional pain, emphasizing once again his selfless love. The speaker doesn't want his memory to be a source of suffering after he is gone. Line 9. Oh, if, I say, you look upon this verse. The speaker addresses the future, considering the possibility that the beloved might read this poem after his death. There's a sense of inevitability in this line, as the speaker acknowledges the lasting presence of his words even after his physical death. The poem itself becomes a kind of legacy, a reminder of the speaker's thoughts and emotions. Line 10. When I, perhaps, compounded am with clay. This line uses imagery of the speaker's body returning to the earth after death, becoming compounded with clay. The phrase suggests the speaker will be buried and physically become part of the soil, a metaphor for the natural cycle of life and death. The speaker is resigned to his fate and accepts the eventual decay of his body. Line 11. Do not so much as my poor name rehearse. The speaker again asks the beloved not to mention his name after he is gone. He doesn't want to be memorialized or remembered with sorrow. His use of poor name reflects his humility and his desire to fade quietly from the beloved's life without causing them distress. The speaker's identity becomes less important than the beloved's emotional peace. Line 12. But let your love even with my life decay. The speaker asks for the beloved's love for him to die along with his own life. This is a powerful expression of the speaker's wish that love and grief should not last beyond death. He does not want the beloved to continue to feel emotional attachment or pain after he has passed away. The speaker suggests that love itself should have a natural end when life does. Line 13. Lest the wise world should look into your moan. The speaker introduces the idea of the world observing the beloved's mourning. He worries that the wise world, which is often judgmental, may scrutinize the beloved's grief. This reveals the speaker's concern for the beloved's vulnerability in a world that can be cruel or mocking when it comes to emotional displays. Line 14. And mock you with me after I am gone. In the final line, the speaker fears that both he and the beloved will be ridiculed after his death. He worries that the world might make light of their love and the beloved's mourning. This concern leads him to ask that the beloved's love die with him, to prevent them from being mocked or judged for their grief. The speaker's protective nature is evident, as he seeks to shield the beloved from potential harm even after death.
About the poet. William Shakespeare was born on April 23, 1564, in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. He is widely regarded as one of the greatest playwrights and poets in the English language. Shakespeare's body of work includes 39 plays, 154 sonnets, and 2 long narrative poems. His plays, such as Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, and Othello, are celebrated for their exploration of complex human emotions, universal themes, and masterful use of language. He was also a brilliant innovator, contributing significantly to the development of drama, including both tragedy and comedy. Shakespeare's works have been translated into numerous languages and are performed around the world, making him one of the most influential literary figures in history. He was part of the London theatre scene and co-owned the Globe Theatre. He died on April 23, 1616, leaving behind a timeless legacy that continues to inspire and shape literature today.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.